Welcome to Idaho Today. I'm your host, Melissa Paul, and coming up on the show, we'll be celebrating Idaho's stop on the Antiques Roadshow tour. We'll be going behind the scenes to find out how the whole process works. Plus, we'll hear from a local woman whose item turned out to be more than just a personal treasure. And we're going to do a little appraising of our own here on the show. We'll be joined by some Channel 7 familiar faces to play a game show style of Guess That Price. So stick around because we have all that and more on Idaho Today. Refill and recharge with Idaho Today. One great state, endless possibilities. Find some fun close to home. We've got so many ideas for you. I'm Melissa Paul, and this is Idaho Today. Again, thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of Idaho Today. You know, earlier in 2022, award-winning show Antiques Roadshow made its way here to Boise to see what treasures the Treasure Valley has to offer. Well, we here on Idaho Today, we were curious to see what happens behind the scenes, so we went out there to see firsthand how the Antiques Roadshow operates. Take a look. Antiques Roadshow is in town, and we're here at the Idaho Botanical Gardens. This is the second stop of a 5-city tour where possibly some Idahoans will find out that they're a part of the episodes that will air in 2023. Now, thousands of people are here possibly to find out if their family heirlooms are a hidden treasure or their priceless memories. And I actually brought myself a couple of books here from my family's history because I'm curious to know, what is this process like? Let's check it out.
Come on down.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
What did you bring today?
The Ulysses S. Grant personal memoirs, and I got this from, these are my mom's.
This was a publishing sensation when it was done, and it went through endless editions, but they are correct first editions. It's a matched pair, but really the condition is pretty doggone good. These were, U.S. Grant. We're talking exactly 20 years after the end of the Civil War. It was still huge. There were still ramifications that are still going on today. But you do have the correct first in what I would call very good condition, and they would retail in the $300+ range in that condition.
It's nice to hear a little additional history on it because, it came from her great uncle who meant so much to her. Yes, exactly.
That's cool. That's the fun part of doing this. You get all the family stories.
Marcia, we're here at the Idaho Botanical Gardens for the Antiques Roadshow. We are so excited to have you here. How's it going today?
It's going great. It isn't raining, number one. People are here, and we're appraising our brains out.
Sometimes do you see that people bring items that, regardless of how they come up being appraised, that just their value is kind of priceless, right? Because it means something to them and their family heritage.
You nailed it. Because what it is that people come here often knowing they're not coming with life-changing money when they hear it, but they really want to know and understand what they own. It's something that's been in their family for 3 generations, 4 generations, and that is the big payoff for them. They really want to know. We have the answer.
Antiques Roadshow here at the Idaho Botanical Gardens. How many people would you say are here right now?
Oh gosh, I think today we're going to be able to expect between 3,000 and 5,000 people.
Okay, and this is the second large event here at the garden this year, right? So how excited are you to be able to host things like this?
We are delighted. I feel like after 2 years of being reduced capacity or even locked down, we are so excited to see our community again. We're a gathering space, and it's wonderful to be able to really achieve our mission.
How long have you been with the Antiques Roadshow?
This is my 12th year.
Give some advice for someone who's like, you know what, I missed out the first time, I'm missing out again. If they come through, I'm going to be ready.
If they're going to come through, bring something you don't know anything about. We all live in the age of the internet, and it's no fun if you've already looked up everything about it. The best stuff here is the stuff that you really can't look up on the internet, and that's becoming fewer and fewer items. But when you have something like that we can share with you what we know, it makes it a much more fun experience for everybody.
In a show that is so involves the public, I get to touch people. We touch lives in that way. And this is my job. And I work with a long-time team. We've all worked together a long time. I have a family. but that's my other family. So I love my team too. I love what we make. We love making the show, and the joy of watching people who enjoy what we labor over is very satisfying.
Well, coming up after the break, we'll hear from a local woman who made the cut for the Antiques Roadshow's latest series, find out what her experience was like and how her treasure proved to be just that. And welcome back to the special edition of Idaho Today, where we're celebrating the Antiques Roadshow stop here in Boise in 2022. Now, just before the break, you saw our behind-the-scenes experience at the Antiques Roadshow because Idaho Today, well, we paid a nice visit. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to get some items appraised, which, well, the appraisal was fun, but I only got quoted just a couple $100. Not bad, but nothing compared to what one local woman learned about her item.
Yeah, we've been watching Antiques Roadshow for probably since you were 5, maybe 6.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we always have fun guessing, making a competition of like who's going to come closest to the appraised value, and we're usually wrong, both of us. I think this show really, from a young age, inspired me to look closely at historical objects and kind of consider their value and how they play a role in different people's lives. And, you know, there can be sentimental value as well as monetary value to historical objects. And I ended up winning tickets. We kind of argued for a bit about what to bring, and so we decided to bring, Nanocita has like 4 Walt Disney illustrations, and I insisted on bringing those, and Dad really wanted to bring the watch.
And it turns out the Disney
They weren't worth anything.
They weren't really worth anything.
So the watch ended up being the thing you brought. Certainly that you guys know like a lot about like where that came from, and it's like a big family heirloom or something.
No.
No.
My father's brother died, and the neighbors across the street had this watch, and they invited me for dinner and gave me the watch. I was told to give it to my son.
Well, and then he didn't have any sons, so
No.
I got it.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a hand-painted scene of an American harbor across the front, and it's gold. And when you open it up, it's got these beautiful hand-painted numbers for the clock. The most interesting thing about it is when I was fiddling with it, it started playing music. We actually have a piece of paper that was kept with it in the safety deposit box, and according to that, it was appraised in 1991. They gave some kind of details about it. They said it dates back to 1820s, 18 karat gold, and that it was valued at $2,500. Everyone is kind of funneled in with all their various objects, and then someone tells you based off of your object which appraiser to go see, and it's really quite amazing. There's like 30
quite a production.
There's like 30 different appraisers, and each one specializes in a different topic. We actually went and saw the watch appraiser first. His name was Peter Plains out of Florida. So we went up there and we showed him the watch, and he was actually really quite quiet at first, and we were like, oh God, we brought him a dud, or we brought like some stolen jewelry from a museum that's been missing for years, and like we're gonna get in trouble or something. He just looked up to us and he was like,
Do you guys want to be on TV?
do you want to film this? And we were like, oh my God, we have something big. Normally watches, it's very ornate and old and beautiful and great and everything, would be about 6 to 7, I think is what he said. But what really makes the watch rare and valuable is the fact that it still plays music, and he told us it was worth between $15,000 to $20,000 because of that. I was amazed by how much it was worth, but it was more about like just getting
fun.
It was fun, and we got to experience the whole thing. It's going back to the safety deposit box for now, and then maybe it can pay off some student loans. I don't know. My grandmothers have given me many objects that belong to them as children, including photographs of themselves as children, and for me, those are much more valuable than
watch?
This watch, because there's not really any like, there's no family history behind it. Well, I wish I'd put a little more effort into my outfit that day. Because again, I wasn't really expecting to get anywhere.
How absolutely phenomenal. We get to watch Olivia's experience coming up on Antiques Roadshow in April this year. And you heard how Olivia and her family like to watch the show and try to guess the value of items themselves. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we're doing right here in the studio. We'll be testing some recognizable Channel 7 faces to see how skilled they are on appraising items. So stay with us. And welcome back to our Antiques Roadshow special of Idaho today. Throughout the show, you've seen different items appraised at different values. So we thought that we would try it right here in studio. So we are joined by two contestants. Let's get to meet them and see who they are. Hi, and please tell us your name, sir.
My name is Andrew.
Andrew. And Andrew, what do you do for a living?
Professionally?
Yes.
Well, I typically do importing and exporting, but professionally, news. I work in news.
Oh, okay, excellent, thank you. So you are actually a reporter here at KTVB.
You could say that, yes.
Okay.
I report
Wonderful.
the news.
And then who is our second contestant?
I'm Joe Lewis.
You were not Joe Lewis.
I am Joe Lewis.
You are Joe Lewis?
Do you want to look at my ID?
No, okay, so Joe Lewis. How do we know you, Joe?
I do a lot of the snow shoveling here, and then I also do some news reporting when they need me to.
He's a professional snow shoveler and occasional news reporter and anchor. Excellent. Thank you, Joe Lewis.
Of course.
Please tell us about this fantastic item that you have here on the table. What have you brought today?
This is the seal of approval and or the 6 o'clock seal for us news junkies out there. You may have seen this make a guest appearance from time to time. We actually found it in a miscellaneous cabinet in the building.
Okay.
And Joe and I have captured it. Cannot be recreated. But we took it on a little adventure, so he's a nice little guy.
Yeah, we took it to the Antiques Roadshow, and they appraised it, and they had never seen this before. This is a one-of-a-kind item.
Oh, really? And it was kept here in the vault of KTVB.
For decades.
For decades.
There actually, I'm not kidding though, there are former reporters that reached out and like, I can't believe that thing's still there. So this has been around the block.
I think this
Seriously?
was a white elephant.
Yeah.
At one point, this was a white elephant gift in this building.
Really?
Doing well.
Okay, still doing well. And then what happened at the Antiques Roadshow, though?
Well,
Tell
they
us.
appraised it. Well,
Okay.
honestly, the reason they'd never seen something like this before is because no one has ever wasted their time.
Go ahead.
We didn't know if this was like a ceramic or if this was rare. We found out, though, that in, I think it was the 70s, maybe the 80s, there was these popular pottery parties where you'd get a mold like this and you'd have all your friends over and you'd paint them.
Oh, yeah, the pottery parties.
So they made a million of these.
All
But
right.
It's not special or unique. And
But
they
it is
couldn't-
one of a kind.
I was
But
gonna
it
say-
is also the first one to end up at the Antique Roadshow.
But again, it goes to point out that value really isn't monetary all the time. Sometimes it's incredibly valuable just based on your attachment to it, right?
And he's attached to it.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Melissa. I like
All
what
right.
you do here.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I like what you do here. All right, we're going to get to the game show, everybody. It is called Over and Under, and this is exactly how it is going to work. Joe, you're going to give your guess on how much an item went for at an auction, okay? So we're going to start with you. And then from there, Andrew, you're going to guess if the price is higher or lower than Joe's initial appraisal. Pretty simple, right?
Very
now,
nice.
if Andrew gets it right, he will get a point. If Andrew gets it wrong, the point goes to Joe. Do you gentlemen understand the rules of over and under?
Oh, I understand.
Oh, I understand.
Oh my gosh, it's getting tense in here. Okay, you could cut the air with a knife. Here we go. All right, we're going to start with this first item. It is John Lennon's molar tooth. Now, this item was allegedly given to John Lennon's housekeeper to dispose of sometime between 1964 and 68, but it was actually kept when John told his housekeeper to keep it and give it to her daughter, who was a big Beatles fan, which is disgusting. Joe, how much was this item sold for at auction in 2015?
That looks like a $100,000 tooth to me.
John Lennon's molar.
$100,000.
People love the Beatles. And John Lennon. You see his sunglasses he's wearing?
It's hard to imagine, Joe.
$100,000.
Well, it's easy if you try. Life's too short. I'm taking the over.
Okay, all right. Andrew said it's over, and Joe said $100,000 for John Lennon's molar. The actual price is $31,200.
We're right
It's a
there.
tooth.
Right there.
It's a tooth that should have gone in the trash can.
It's the Beatles.
It is the Beatles.
Are they not as popular as they used to be?
Okay, so that point actually goes to Joe. Joe, you are currently leading. All right. Now, both of you are big sports fans. Okay, we're going to go on to item number 2. Both of you are big sports fans. Sure. And next we have the sports collectible Holy Grail, is what Daniel, our producer, who's also a big sports fan, calls this. This is the T206 Honus Wagner baseball card. Only about 50 to 60 ever existed because this card was distributed in cigarette packets, and Honus Wagner insisted his card not be distributed as to not promote smoking in children, which is pretty noble. Joe, how much was this item sold for at auction in 2021?
I know this is like the most valuable sports card on the market, but I thought $100,000 for a tooth. I don't know, maybe $1 million.
$1 million?
$1 million.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail of all
cards.
baseball cards.
Really?
$1 million. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, this is hilarious. I actually took a class in college where we discussed this card. It was literally sports.
Are you being serious, Andrews?
I'm being 100% serious. The professor's name is Ben Shores. You can check him out. Great guy.
Okay.
I don't remember anything, but I imagine like Babe Ruth goes for $1 million, so this has to be more than that. So life's too short. I'm betting the over.
Okay, you're betting over, and your quote was $1 million. The actual sales price is $7.25 million.
Oh.
More than John Lennon's tooth by far.
You got a whole set of John Lennon's teeth for that.
All right, gentlemen, moving on to the next item. You'll be appraising this. It is a violin that played aboard the Titanic as it sank in the North Atlantic on April 15th, 1912. Now, you may be familiar with the legend of the Titanic sinking. You know, the band aboard the Titanic apparently played on to calm the passengers. This particular violin belonged to the band leader, Wallace Hartley, who instructed his band to play the hymn, Nearer, My God, to Thee. This is a pretty heavy item, Joe. A lot of sentiment behind this one. How much would you think that this item sold for at auction in 2013? Violin playing while people are literally dying.
On the Titanic.
On the Titanic, nonetheless.
It sounds more important to me than a baseball card, I'll tell you that. I don't know.
How did they collect it? That's what I want to know.
Water damaged for sure.
Yeah.
With the water damage, probably
it can't sound the same
$2 million.
Okay, you're going to?
$2 million.
Right?
I feel like it doesn't sound the same anymore, right? It's got to be waterlogged. Is it a Stradivarius?
I do not have those details, Andrew.
I'm going to assume it's a Stradivarius.
Okay.
Life's too short. I'm betting the over.
You're betting over?
More than $2 million.
All right.
Greater than.
You're saying greater than.
Mistake,
ready?
don't worry.
It is 1.7
that was a good guess. That was a
Point
good guess.
goes to Joe. All right, gentlemen.
That's pretty good guess.
Okay, can I get a confirmation here? We have Joe in the lead with 2 and Andrew with 1. All right, here we go. The next item is the infamous painting is Shot Sage Blue Maryland by Andy Warhol. Now, I'm going to give you all a hint. This is the most expensive 20th century artwork ever sold at auction, gentlemen. Now, Warhol never met Monroe, but he did paint her multiple times, and this particular piece was made in 1964, 2 years after her death. So, Joe, how much did this item sell for in auction at 2021?
So almost $2 million for a violin on the Titanic.
And this is the most expensive
that may or may
modern
not be a Stradivarius.
We don't have that info. $1.5 million.
1.5?
1.5.
Andrew, most expensive modern art piece to sell.
That's tough for
Andy
me.
Warhol.
He never met her, so I don't even know how you know what she looks like. So that to me
There's
impacts.
no such thing as photos.
That to me
or
impacts the
movies during
value.
that time
What
period.
year was this?
I mean, it's an educated
The
guess.
60s.
So
Do they have TV in the 60s?
the Mona Lisa is 40 million, right?
I don't know.
It's not on
Is
this
it?
program.
I'm taking the under.
You're going to go
We're going
under?
to mix it up. I'm not confident in it, but I got to mix it up.
All right, let's go ahead and reveal the answer here, gentlemen. The actual value is $195 million.
They overpaid.
They overpaid.
$195
All
million?
right, the point goes to Joe.
Must be good brushwork.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for both of you being great sports. But Joe, you are the winner. And because you both are such great sports here, coming on over and under on Idaho Today, you do have some consolation prizes. Callie's going to hand you over an Idaho Today mug.
Yes!
Thank you so much.
You're going to add it to my collection.
Add it to your collection. It'll go well with your seal of approval.
It actually will go right next to it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Got
All
a nice
right.
cup.
Okay, everyone, make sure you stick around because we're going to tell you when you can watch the Antiques Roadshow to see our Idaho people who are actually going to be featured coming up after the break. Oh, you're already drinking from it. Very nice.
Good air.
Again, a big thank you to Joe and Andrew for playing Over and Under here in Idaho today. And here's your reminder, watch Antiques Roadshow on PBS. Their new season launched January 2nd, but you get to see our Idaho Treasure Valley people featured on April 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th, only on PBS. Follow Idaho Today on social and watch every weekday at 12:30 right here on Channel 7. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Great job, you guys.